Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Brony Debates Live. I hope you're all doing well out there. I forgot what week it was for a second. Had to look at my screen. I almost said Friday Night Fights like a doofus. Anyway, I hope you're all doing well. We've got a really interesting topic tonight. So, we just recently had a new man join the Patreon. And that is Sniper Gaming here. He is the Ponytown avatar that you see in the thumbnail. How are you doing today, Sniper?
Hi, I'm doing good. It's 11 o'clock right now.
Yeah, you're out in the British Isles there.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we're not keeping you up too late.
No, it's fine.
All right, good
This
to.
is normal for me.
Okay, well that's good and bad at the same time. So couple of things here. Firstly, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi. I thought I was about to give my real name there. I'm Sniper Gaming or Ridge Racer 7 in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a My Little Pony fan. I like music. I used to be a Star Wars fan until The Last Jedi. And then I moved over to the My Little Pony fandom in season 8,
From
and
Star
it's
Wars.
ended. So now I'm like, I've no like interests.
Alrighty then. So, what made you want to talk about Scootaloo's character development?
So I feel like every time there are plenty of people talking about other characters and like how overrated or good or bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
Every time that there's nothing on the internet about Scootaloo's character. It's always about design or something else like that. I feel like nobody has the opinion that I do about Scootaloo.
Okay, so we're gonna get that out into the world today, and debate whether or not it's valid. And joining us with that is Mr. Cordero, Pony Cordero. How are you doing today, sir?
Hello, hello. Good to be here as always.
Indeed. So, as you guys may have heard, uh, Sniper is coming from Patreon to suggest this topic. If you would like us to talk about anything, geez, I stuttering mess tonight. If you would
Yeah, I've
like,
noticed.
yeah, if you would like us to talk about anything, I'd love to get your suggestions. We'll just get you on the Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you can join the Discord server and pitch your ideas to us, come on the show, suggest the games, all that fun stuff. I am, as of this year, trying to make content creation full time and get a better actual video upload schedule going. So I'm going to need as much help as I can get for that. So check out the description there, where you can find ways to support the channel if you find yourself enjoying the show. There's Subscribestar that has all the same perks as Patreon. There's Ko-fi for either subscriptions, custom subscriptions, or one-time donations. There's TeePublic for merch, and there's Stream Elements links in there for donations where you can get your own message read out on the screen. So I'm very grateful to all of my generous backers on Patreon, especially the $10 and up tier. These guys are Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministries, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Morningstar, Pony Cordero, who's with us tonight, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Kanto Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Check out all their links in the description as well. They usually make some pretty good stuff. I know Cordero's got some chapters coming out on some really good film fictions about Sunset Shimmer and all the good stuff. Anyway,
That's debatable depending on what fanfiction reviewer you ask.
we'll figure that out later. Anyway, Sniper, give us some opening thoughts here. What is it about Scootaloo's character that you want to talk about? Tell us your opinions.
So I feel like she's a missed opportunity.
Why is that?
I feel like every point or like plot point or character point that she has is usually just dumped in favor of a cheap episode or just like making her character quote unquote better. So yeah.
Okay, can
That's
you give
pretty
us
much it.
can you give us some examples?
Like with the point of her not having a sister, I feel like that could have been a really interesting thing they could have developed on, because she's the
Mm-hmm.
only CMC without a sister, the only CMC who's disabled, the only CMC without parents. I feel like that could be an important conflict, but instead they just throw that all away
How do
for
they throw it
face.
away?
So in Sleepless in Ponyville, with not being Rainy Dash's sister, she actually attempts to become like under her wing, and then they just carry on doing that until the washout, and then like that ship sailed. Like he can't go back to not being her sister.
Wait,
And then
how
secondly
long
with
of a
her,
gap is that? You're saying there's a long gap between Sleepless
yeah,
in
Sleepless in
Ponyville where she
Ponyville
becomes her
was in
sister?
season 3.
Yeah.
Sleepless in Ponyville was in season 3, and I think
Washouts, I believe, was season
Washout
8.
was season 8. So that's
There's no
a
way.
5-season gap.
Yeah.
There's
5-season gap.
no.
It is.
I'm having trouble remembering specific episodes. There's no way there was a 5-season gap where there
Yep.
was nothing showing
Yep.
Rainbow Dash.
Season 8. I just googled it, and I watched.
Right. Well,
Sleepless in Ponyville
that's
today.
not what he's saying. What he's saying is that there were definitely more episodes of Scootaloo. There were definitely more Scootaloo centered episodes in the interim of season 3 and season 8 between Sleepless in Ponyville and the Washouts. First one to come.
No, I'm saying there were episodes showing Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash basically being sisters and really close.
Yes.
Like just because the episode didn't feature that, like that was a staple of the show from season 3 on. Like they didn't wait until season 8 to show that again.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they went from her not having a sister, which could have been an interesting thing, to her having a sister,
Okay.
and then that being the norm until season 8, and
Oh, okay.
in the washouts, and then that going back to the norm because they don't want to change Scootaloo's character, and then ending the series, obviously.
Wait, so they redacted Rainbow Dash being her sister in season 8?
No, I'm saying they had the washouts episode, which was
What happened
I
in
think,
the Washouts episode?
yeah, well, she rejected Rainbow Dash and then joined the washouts, and then at the end she just accepted her again, and then they never mentioned it again.
Okay.
It was probably too late anyway because of it's season 8 and then there's only one season left, so I guess I can't blame them for that.
So in season 4, Flight to the Finish, how was that not a sister episode with Scootaloo?
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm saying that it could have been an interesting plot point. But
I think he's saying that they shouldn't have. That they shouldn't have had Rainbow Dash suddenly be her sister.
or they should have done it later, over more episodes.
Just like Twilight's wings. Twilight should have gotten her wings in season 12, and Scootaloo should have been Rainbow Dash's sister in season 37. That would have been a better sequence.
Well, here's the thing: is
I'm not saying that.
I believe
it's been a slow.
I'm willing to believe in the found family concept. I've lived a little bit of it myself in various degrees. So let me, you know what, Sniper, I'm gonna pull a Matt Walsh on you. Okay, what is a sister?
Like, yeah, it's biology. Like
Okay, so is it impossible for someone to? So what is it about? We've got sister being a biological thing. Okay, so you know the daughter of your parents is your sister. So what comes with being a sister, societally, or in the family structure? Can you tell me that?
Well, it comes. I'm saying that if you can become someone's sister, like in a TV show, but it takes longer than one episode in season 3 or 2 to become that. I'm saying that should have been a longer process with her becoming friends and then them becoming like sisters instead of Scootaloo fangirling and then becoming a sister, and then that's that. She's a sister now.
All right. So in season 1. Let me see here. I'm looking through the episode list now. In season 1, we get Call of the Cutie, where we see Scootaloo has an admiration for Rainbow Dash. Let me see, what else do we have here? Season 2. So what I'm trying to build up to here is, it sounds like you're saying there should have been more of a setup.
Yeah, more of a setup. Like in the Clone Wars, they don't have, oh, 99's a good guy and then he kills and then he gets killed. It's not like anyone liked 99 like as much as they do.
Mm-hmm.
In the first episode, it's over the seasons. Oh, everyone loved him, and then they may name a squadron. They see his beginnings, and then I think that this is an overall point with My Little Pony. Like, season beginning and finale shouldn't be the only ones with 2 episodes.
So then in season 2, we get the mysterious Ne'er-do-well, which has a lot of Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash kind of thing, right? So, but that's where you really start to see in Scootaloo's character that she doesn't really have anyone else to look up to, and being the child that she is at this time, children will look for someone to look up to like that, even if it's not their own parents. Like, yeah, they will probably look up to their parents to some degree, but every kid has their hero, you know, like I want to be like the Green Ranger when I grow up. Let me see. Well, then there's
a lot of kids said that. Green Ranger? Maybe there's a generation gap. Am I too old? We all wanted to be the Green and Red Ranger.
Right. So there's an idol that you look up to, and sometimes that's an older sibling. Well, Scootaloo,
maybe nobody born after 2003 wants to be the Green Ranger.
Yeah. So imagine being Scootaloo, this, you know, flightless child Pegasus that probably doesn't even fully understand at this point that
is that a plot point yet? Is that in season 3? Is that a plot point?
I'd say it is.
They mentioned, I think the first time they mentioned that was in Flight to the Finish, I think. The one with Diamond Tiara saying that she can't fly. I think that was the first time they actively mentioned it.
Right. So what I'm
that's not a plot point yet. Neither is her parents being a plot point yet.
Right, but what I'm saying is that even from the early on, it was very clear that she didn't really have any of these role models to look up to. And so, but she wanted to be a flyer. It was clear she had, you know, a thing for her scooter and doing stunts, and wanted to sort of be a stunt performer, like the same way Rainbow Dash wanted to be a Wonderbolt. So who best to look up to than the local hero, who's probably who is already at this point acknowledged as one of the best flyers in Equestria. And the close friend of your sister, or not your sister, I'm sorry, the close friend of your best friend. So she doesn't have to go very far. And if she's missing that familial bonding, then yeah, she's going to want to look up to someone like Rainbow Dash as a sister. I don't think that needs I think it got plenty of build up right before Sleepless in Ponyville, and then Rainbow Dash, recognizing this as someone close to her, was ready to take on the role of sister. Now, perhaps they could have given it a couple more episodes between to actually show that, but I don't think that they didn't either. So like I'm breezing through these lists here trying to find, because the next one was Flight to the Finish, and Rainbow Dash was definitely taking on a sister role in that episode. And keep in mind, this can be, you also got to keep in mind how the business side of things sort of works. Let me see. After that, there was Twilight Time, which didn't feature Rainbow Dash as much. Come to think of it, but
yeah, all the CMC episodes are like that. All the CMC episodes that are good. I'm just saying, the new plot points that I mentioned before about Scootaloo, them on their own are not as good as the other CMC's plot points.
Mm-hmm. All right, Cordero, do you have anything you'd like to add or take away from this?
I don't think they needed anything more in season 1 or 2 to set up Sleepless in Ponyville. I think that Ponyville and Cloudsdale, well, mostly Ponyville, because Scootaloo, they imply is from Ponyville and not Cloudsdale, like Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash. I think Ponyville is a really small town, and you were mentioning, Brawny, that Scootaloo's affection for Rainbow Dash was very apparent. So from Scootaloo's side, it makes sense. I think the only question in Sleepless in Ponyville is based on what was in season 1 and 2. Does it make sense for Rainbow Dash to reciprocate? And
Yeah.
I think it does.
Especially in season 3, in
Yes.
the early seasons, it's not in her character.
No, it is. It definitely is, because the whole point of Rainbow Dash being the element of loyalty is she comes across, she's very competitive, she seems super arrogant and standoffish, but the idea is that at her core she embodies loyalty that goes to her community and to young people in her town. So Rainbow Dash being an older, knowing that she's a role model to look up to, and seeing that this younger orphan, who she's very aware likes her and looks up to her, and is an orphan that doesn't have parents or role models, when this orphan child comes up to you who's in your very small community and says, I would like to be your little sister, Rainbow Dash, you can see it in her eyes. They actually animated this in the show. You can see it in her eyes in the episode when she literally scoops her up with her wing and says, "Of course you're my little sister," or whatever the line is. Like, it makes sense that Rainbow Dash would take that up, because you can see in her face in the episode, it caught her off guard a little bit, being stated so bluntly by Scootaloo like that. And once it was laid out on the line, Rainbow Dash realized that it was important for her to take up the mantle for this younger kid. And I think in that moment she realized that she also had a soft spot for this younger kid who looked up for her. And I think that what we got in season 1 and season 2 was enough to make that moment hit. And I would even argue that if they gave us too much lead up into it, it might have actually made the moment less impactful, because it was so surprising. Rainbow Dash was the avatar for the audience in that scene, because we all know how Scootaloo feels. The whole time we know how Scootaloo feels, but we don't know how Rainbow Dash feels. And we're worried, like Scootaloo, that Rainbow Dash wouldn't reciprocate. And in that moment, when it surprises Rainbow Dash surprises the audience and takes Scootaloo in. And that makes the moment richer, not weaker. So I argue the opposite.
Sniper, what do you think about that?
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm not saying that it's not surprising. I'm just saying that she was made to be different, and now she's the same as the other two CMC.
So why is that a problem?
And firstly,
Mhm.
with the parents, this is the main problem with the parents. She was always assumed to be an orphan, and then like now she's not. So then where were her parents? The whole character arc has been retconned, kind of, a little bit.
So in order for it to have been a retcon, now we'll cycle back to the parents in a little bit, but I'll just correct you on this right here. In order for something to be a retcon, it would have had to have been stated that her parents were
shown.
Yeah, were either dead or just otherwise absent, right? But we never really got a glimpse of Scootaloo's home life. We got a couple of shots of her, bedroom occasionally, but we didn't know until season 9 that she lived with her aunts, or until like comic books came out sooner than that, and were then made canon in the show. So there's that.
I'm actually willing to give him that one, that's a retcon.
Really?
Because like, I think the implication is so heavy that at that point you have to just consider it canon.
The reason that it works with Applejack's parents is that it was always implied they were dead, and they are.
I was about to make the same comparison. I was going to make the same comparison, because like that would be like them having an episode where Applejack's parents come back and being like, well, it's not a retcon because they were never said they were dead. We had like so many seasons where it was very, very heavily implied. And same with Scootaloo. Sure, we never saw the ants. We never saw her home for a long period of time. And nobody ever said that she didn't live with anybody. But the way that the community reacts to her, and the fact that we had never seen anyone that she'd lived with or talked to at that point, other than the other characters in the show, that implication is heavy enough to just accept that Scootaloo is orphaned or lives alone or something.
Yeah.
So and that implication is so strong that I would say that the ants were a bit of a retcon, because it's just, once you imply something long enough, it just becomes fact.
I don't think it was at all implied. I just thought they didn't.
How was it not? It was implied, but by the absence. The silence.
It was probably the most implied thing about Scootaloo's character.
Silence speaks volumes, Brawny. Silence is huge. And so the fact that we had nothing about her home life, nothing about anyone else she knows or family or lives with, nobody ever addresses it as such, that silence is deafening that Scootaloo is an orphan.
The fandom also backed this up for like 100 years.
Well, that's what I was trying to say, is that it was just a fandom thing for a while, and the first time we saw
for a while for the entire show.
Well, no,
the fandom was just pointing out the implication. I'm saying that without whatever the fans think, the implication by the show saying absolutely nothing on the subject matter speaks volumes. The same way it did with Applejack's parents, because all they did was just never bring up Applejack's parents for 8 seasons.
I think,
or 7, or whenever it was.
Well, they brought up Applejack's parents a couple of times, but then it was pretty well implied that they were dead. With Scootaloo,
the exact same.
Well, there was nothing. I mean, where Applejack's hold on a second, guys. Where Applejack's parents said, they would say something about the parents that couldn't really be inferred in any other way that they were other than that they were gone. Scootaloo had nothing. So everything that we had said as a fandom about Scootaloo was just headcanon. There was nothing there. So we just put that. So we just assigned whatever we wanted to it, really. And the first time, what I'm trying to say is, the first time we saw Scootaloo's bedroom, we should have known that this child is not living by herself.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, of course she's living.
All we ever saw is her bedroom. Brawny, I need you to decide a source. Before Bright Mac and Pear Butter were introduced in flashback, when were Applejack's parents spoken about out loud?
I'm like 100% sure. Yeah, that never happened.
What episode were they out loud, like, "Oh, your mom and dad," or something from Granny Smith? Anything?
Crusaders of the
spoken out loud.
Crusaders of the Lost Mark.
Okay.
If Mom and Dad were here, they'd be so proud. Apple Family Reunion season 3.
Shit.
The two stars, the two shooting stars, when Applejack was talking about how she missed her parents and how they used to participate in the family reunion. That right there. And then I think it was Jim Miller had confirmed, those are supposed to be like the memories of her parents.
But in parental guidance,
I remember the shooting stars.
But in parental guidance, when Scootaloo says that, when I was growing up, no one said I could do anything, well, was that not implied that they were dead?
No, that was implied that she didn't have any supportive role models in her life that to give her any kind of praise.
Could have been none.
Yeah,
it could easily be none, as it could be non-supportive.
What we ended up seeing in season 9 is that her parents are just a tad neglectful, and that can mean that can be the same thing.
Yeah, not neglectful in the fact that I had no support when I was a child. They don't seem that bad. They're just bad.
Yeah, she's obviously fed. She's obviously, she has access to food and water and shelter. Otherwise, she would look it.
Be dead.
Yeah, right. Especially as a child. Okay, and yeah, they're ponies, but these are essentially human characters. So we're dealing with that kind of thing. There would have been a lot to look out for if a lot of very obvious signs if she was an orphan or living by herself. That's not the same. That is something very different than, my parents don't understand me, or my parents don't like what I do, or my parents just aren't around. They're too busy, which is what it ended up being. My parents aren't around. They're too busy. Shoot, I could have said the same thing when I was a teenager. My parents hated all of my hobbies. My parents hated all of my hobbies because, like, what did I do back then? I liked writing, and writing meant I was at the computer for hours and hours a day. And what else did I do? I liked photography, and holy frick, cameras are expensive, especially when they were.
Oh God, the implications.
We just got a tip from Achilles, tipped $1.69.
I knocked aside my food bowl and left a mess for Mom and Uncle
that's true,
Emerald
Brony.
to find.
Cameras are too expensive.
Just
I don't
thought
support
you should
your
know.
photography career. I think it's
exactly.
as your
Well,
dad,
you know something, they should have. It's funny because I sort of inherited the photography from my father. But anyway, and then there was my interest in combat sports and martial arts, and that was violent and scary, and I was going to hurt people and I was going to get hurt, which, to their credit, sort of did happen, but that's beside the point, right?
Listen, just because you're right.
Yeah, just because you're right doesn't change the fact that you didn't support what I did. I could have said the same thing that Scootaloo said, and it would not have been terribly inaccurate. And certainly at the time,
well, she said it in such a traumatic way.
Being up and being, approaching middle age as I am, I can look back and go, oh, they were right. But at the time, certainly, it's like I don't have any lines of support. It doesn't mean I'm going hungry. It's a completely different thing for being an orphan. So no, I would not say that is an implication that the parents are dead, and it certainly doesn't mean it's a retcon. Does anybody want to add or take away from that tirade?
I still think it's a retcon. Maybe the Applejack dead parents is slightly stronger than Scootaloo orphan, but they're both. I think they're both implied enough that going back on either of them would have been a retcon. So I will give you that Applejack's parents was a little bit stronger, but Scootaloo orphan is implied enough that it's a retcon. That's my final position on it.
So I think that sort of. So let me ask you this, Sniper. What would you have done differently to fix Scootaloo? So okay, hold on. I just remembered. 15 minutes ago, I asked a question. Why does it matter that Scootaloo is different from the main six or the other Cutie Mark Crusaders in terms of having a sister?
Because that could be a plot. I'm saying that she could have not have had a sister, or she could have had a sister from the beginning. She could have had an actual sister.
Yeah, I get that that's something that could have been done differently, but why does that make it better? Why is your version better than what was on screen?
Because what I'm saying is, give me a second.
I know what you're saying. I just want to know why.
Because it's done in such a sloppy way.
How was it sloppy?
Being like the other CMC is sloppy. Isn't the point that they're all very similar to each other, and that's why they?
I wouldn't even say they're similar. They have similar. They ended up having similar goals, which is how they became friends. But they're certainly not similar characters.
The way they approach problem solving is very similar. Just like they have very different personalities and interests. I think that's kind of the point. Is they're obviously very different on the surface and in what they're good at and what they're interested in. But they end up exacerbating their cutie mark issue and probably delaying all three of their cutie marks by becoming the Cutie Mark Crusaders by ironically actively focusing on things that they're not good at and interested in to try and focus on literally anything and everything else. I think the irony of the Cutie Mark Crusaders is they're three very different characters who come together to be incredibly samey in pursuit of a goal that they would have only achieved if they had stayed different. So, which means that Scootaloo has to be like the other two CMC in order for that dramatic... by having some kind of sister in order for that dramatic irony to work. Like, I think that's a really brilliant, like 9-season dramatic irony, or 5, or however long it took them to get their cutie marks. And then the irony of them getting their cutie marks is they're all still the same.
I'm gonna fight you a little bit on that, Cordero. I wouldn't say they're the
Okay.
same character in any capacity. The way that now their goals are the same. These are three friends that want to.
That's same enough.
I'm getting to it. These are three friends that want to get their cutie marks because they don't have it, which means now to them the cutie mark is a status symbol, and that's their first mistake. Even as they're told explicitly multiple times, the cutie mark
and over again.
Right, but for some reason they let Diamond Tiara get in there and Silver Spoon get in their heads. They're told over and over again the cutie mark is not a status symbol. It's not even a maturity symbol. It's a you know what you're good at type of thing. It's you understand your purpose and your talents type of thing, and then you go out from there. But because they saw it as a status symbol, they're the same in the sense that they all saw it as a status symbol and that they needed a goal to be reached, regardless of how they did it, and then they just went about it all the wrong way. Yes, they would have gotten to their cutie marks a lot sooner because it was shown in, gosh darn, season 1. Scootaloo liked her, was really good at her scooter. Sweetie Belle had a talent for singing. It's hit and miss, but what 9-year-old isn't? And Apple Bloom was a craftsman, right? And then but they branched out from there, which I thought, it was at first it was like, okay, that's different from what you established, which is generally something you don't do in writing, but in its own way, is more realistic to characters. If you've ever met a kid, they change their mind all the time. Their interests change all the time. So, like, as we get into later seasons, Apple Bloom sort of becomes a pseudo apprentice to Zecora in potion making, which is a long way off from. But whenever something crafting related comes up, Apple Bloom's got it. In terms of problem solving, Apple Bloom tends to be the first one to fly off the handle and take things to their take the logic of whatever situation there is to the extreme. Like, she's the first to go, this is the worst case scenario and the world's gonna end, right? Scootaloo, so she eventually branched off and started doing things more physical, and we had a whole episode about that with I forgot the title of it. I think it's season 6, where they sort of went off and started doing their own thing. On your marks. And Scootaloo went off and did a whole bunch of physical things that the others weren't able to really keep up with her on. And Sweetie Belle, not being a singer, just went off and started doing some crochet, and she sucked at it. But that was the whole point. She's like, I'm going to... Right, so they change their mind as kids do. They develop as characters. They branch out. They broaden their horizons. And then when they got their cutie marks, it was more or less that, we've been doing all this other stuff and we have our talents, but our purpose, and that was the dual purpose of the cutie mark, is denoting your purpose, your God-given, the reason you are alive, the cog that you play in the great machine. And
Brawny, who are you arguing against? We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Did you not hear what I said?
The CMC.
I said the CMC are
good.
I said the CMC are radically different and have different skill sets and interests, but they approach problem solving the same way.
Well, okay, so here
is what I said.
So Scootaloo solves problems with blunt force. Sweetie Belle's the only one that actually tries to see. She's the most logical of the group. So and actually tries to solve the problem. She usually has a solution early on.
Okay.
And the others are like, no, let's not do that. That's silly. And then she's right.
Okay, fine. They approach the same problem the same way. Fine. They approach exactly one problem the same way, and that's their cutie marks.
Yes.
Like, they're very different skill sets, different interests. On their common goal that they agree upon the worst possible strategy to achieve their common goal, and it delays their cutie marks by literally years as a result, and that's funny.
Yeah,
and that's why the CMC worked. That's why it's compelling to watch. The CMC should have been a one-off episode where they discover who they are and get their cutie mark. What makes it work and so endearing and funny is how obviously they're going about it completely wrong, and everyone literally tells them every day the right way to do it, and they just don't hear them.
Exactly.
Which means the CMC were written well. Yeah.
we all know that the CMC are written well. I think we can all agree on that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the whole premise of your topic suggestion was that
Well,
Scootaloo was not written well.
I'm saying
No,
that,
it's that Scootaloo is written slightly less well. Written the
Yeah.
least well and could be better. I think that's the point.
and could have been much better.
Okay.
If with the first point, Rainbow Dash was her sister in the beginning, and the parents were brought in later as they were, the same points could have happened with all the other sisters, with Apple Bloom fangirling over Applejack is always honest, and with Sweetie Belle trying to control Rarity, what's her name? Scootaloo could have been trying to be like Rainbow Dash and figuring out that she's not Rainbow Dash, and then grow from there.
Which I think
in the same way that
I
the
think
other
we
female
had.
Crusaders did.
Now we had roughly like 100 characters that we sort of had to develop, and we kind of ran out of time. So in order to get what you want in the way that you're describing it, the show would have needed to be another 9 seasons, which I certainly wouldn't have argued against. But that's we got Scootaloo with the Cutie Mark Crusaders, sort of piece by piece, figuring out what they're supposed to do, and then after they figure out what they're supposed to do, they go from there. And it wasn't until the washouts that she sort of made peace with the fact that she's not going to be like Scootaloo, which is why she joined the washouts in the first place. But that was super dangerous, so Rainbow Dash intervened, and that was at peace with. That was helping Scootaloo become at peace with that her destiny is different and she's not going to get what she wants in the way that she wants it right away. So what you're describing would have required an extra 10 episodes. I don't think that means that
It's not a bad thing.
Yeah, right. I don't think that means that it's handled poorly. It means that in order to do that, it would have not needed to be the Friendship is Magic. It would have just needed to be the Scootaloo show. In order to, so we sort of have to, give it what we can and imply the rest. And we're bronies. We're obviously the great at just taking little nuggets of anything and blowing it up through the implications. Hence the 10-minute discussion of whether or not Scootaloo was implied to be an orphan. So we can there's.
True.
With all of that in mind, there's no way that we can't take the couple episodes that we had and the little bits of, characterizations of how Scootaloo handles her disabilities from season 5 to season 8 and get the full story out of it. Even if it's not in the foreground, you can still see it there if you know what to look for. What do you think about that, Sniper?
No, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that why isn't she her sister in the beginning, so then they can develop it the same way throughout?
Because you need to establish the sister thing. Hold on a second here. I didn't
train of thought.
not quite lose my train of thought, but I want to make sure I word this properly. To demonstrate the concept of found family, that sisterhood and a sibling type camaraderie between elder and younger does not necessarily need to be biological, because found family is a thing. People in reality have a lacking of a strong family structure sometimes, which should include your 2 biological parents and hopefully an older and younger sibling. You can learn a lot from having an older and younger sibling. It's a good source of example from somebody that's not your parents. It's your first friend. It should be your first friend. It should be the person that you learn how to share a living space with and share duties with and things of that nature. Be guided in ways that a parent really cannot do that, but not everybody has that. So it's really important that a show like Friendship is Magic can show somebody that, hey, this doesn't necessarily need to be your biological brother or your biological sister to play the same role in your life, because it's an important role that everybody should have and does things for your development as you're going from child to adolescent to adult. It helps people who are in that situation understand that they can seek it out elsewhere if it's something that they need. What do you think about that? That's why.
That's nice.
That's why Rainbow Dash and Scootaloo needed to be found family and not biological.
Well, then why not have her parents? Because it lessens the message with the whole thing with her parents in season 9. Because why not have her parents in the beginning, showing that they're bad parents, and then have Rainbow Dash come in and then be the found family.
I honestly don't know how the fact that it took us 9 seasons to see them shows that. The fact that we were speculating as a fandom that she lives on the street and she's an orphan and she's got nothing and shows that they were bad parents. Shoot, when season 9 came on, we saw that they were bad parents. They had that's the type of couple that, yes, they have an important job to do that nobody else can do. I can understand that. For God's sakes, don't bring a kid into it. Unless, accidents happen. And that's something else that we have to deal with in reality.
Scootaloo was definitely an accident. Can we start that headcanon? Scootaloo was an accident?
I don't think that's even a headcanon. I think now, you see, I'd be willing to concede that from implications alone, right? Because they don't.
Yeah.
Because if
someone should make a fanfic about that.
Yeah.
Working on it.
So, I'm sure it's been done. I've certainly seen the I'm an Orphan fan fiction, and I've certainly seen the My Parents Are Horribly Abusive, so I Don't Stay at Home fan fiction.
Yawn. Overdone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you're basically asking, Sniper, for something that you already have. Don't let me win that easily. I'm getting crickets over here. Someone give me something someone get pissed and throw a chair.
Hang on a second. Let me get some more scotch in me.
Yeah, because that'll make for a coherent argument.
Do you want coherent arguments or you want Sheriff's Throne? You got to pick one.
Yeah, that's a good point there. So thank you all for coming to the debate. I would like to announce Brawny as tonight's winner. I think it's right about time we get into the audience participation.
Except for all your argument points.
I'm still on my first point, by the way. I've still got 2 more to talk about.
All right, let's go.
All right, yeah. Go ahead. If we're not getting into audience participation yet, let's hear it.
Point 2. The thing about her not being able to fly. They don't develop that apart from the one with Diamond Tiara. Forgot the name of it.
Diamond Tiara and Silver Spoon. So we definitely had implications. Flight to the Fitness was almost entirely dedicated to the fact that she can't fly, and then later, she didn't really make many.
But same with her being an orphan. It's never said. It's only implied.
But okay, so does it need to be?
Same with the parents.
Does it need to be? Yes or no? Does it need to be explicitly said?
Yeah, in My Little Pony, yes, it does.
Okay, why does it need to be explicitly said?
I'm not.
If it's explicitly said, it takes all of the. This is just a fact of life kind of thing out of it, that sometimes people deal with this kind of thing and sometimes you don't notice it and you just got to figure it out.
But they never develop her past the fact that she can't fly. She never tries to
Well, she's got so much else going on for her. She's got her relationship with Rainbow Dash. She's got her friends. She's got an entire town that she helps understand their cutie marks better. There's so much that, if anything, that's a point in the favor. I'm Scootaloo. I don't need to fly. I already make a living out of saving people, you know, from a life of uncertainty about what I help people find their purpose. My purpose is to help people find their purpose. I don't need to fly. I've got I've got a very similar thing going on. I can't fly either. What do you think about that?
I had no idea you couldn't fly. That's a new one.
I know, right? I'm getting crickets over here. Nobody's got anything for me tonight. What's your next point, Sniper?
The parents.
Yeah, set me up another straw man that I can knock down, please.
That's all. I already think that's all I need to say. The parents.
The parents. Okay, so what about the parents? Tell me your thoughts on the parents.
It's put in randomly after 9 seasons of clearly, very not subtly implying that she's an orphan, and then bringing in parents, and then manufacturing a conflict in The Last Crusade.
Well, when you've got a blank slate like that, you can pretty much do anything you want with it. So, as I had said earlier, I really don't think there was a very strong implication that she was an orphan, that she was without parents. Now, her parents might have been. I think there was a stronger implication from the, you know, just characterization of Scootaloo herself, and where we did see her in her own element, that the parents were just kind of absent, that she wasn't really wanting for anything, but they didn't really have a big part in her life. So now I will give you this. I would have liked.
Well,
I would have liked a little bit more than what we got at the very end of season. At the very last season, the very end of the series. But for the most part, they could have done anything there, and they did. They explained why the parents aren't really in the picture. They gave a better insight into Scootaloo's home life, and. With it being the last season, they kind of had to answer all these questions. They sort of did the same thing with how does Spike fit into the Sparkle family? They finally put a nail on it and said, or a moratorium on it and said, he is their brother. They see him as a brother, because everybody was debating. It was a fandom debate for the longest time. It still kind of is Spike Twilight's son? Mm. So they did a lot of that in season 9, where they're wrapping up everything that they didn't get to while they were.
Yeah, but they didn't need to bring in the parents. She could have been an orphan that everyone already thought she was an orphan. Nobody thought she.
I would have been so mad if we never got to see her parents.
I'm kind of in agreement here. Like, I think the parents were weak. Like, I actually think it would have been better to just never show the parents at that point.
Everyone already knew / thought that they were dead. Why not keep it that way and have
either just say they're dead and we don't talk about it like Applejack's parents, or they didn't want Scootaloo. She's a true orphan.
Well, because it's more relatable. It's more relatable to a wider variety of the audience. That's what I think.
Why do you hate orphans? Why don't you want orphan representation?
It's not about that. I think there's a lot more people.
All of Twitter is listening right now.
Let them listen, okay? Carefully. Let them listen. We have established I don't give a frick what Twitter thinks. They're a bunch of retards, okay, who collect mental illnesses like Pokemon badges. I'm not afraid of those people. So here's the thing. Scootaloo's situation with her parents, Scootaloo's relationship to her parents is way the heck more common than orphans. And it helps to see that kind of representation, if representation matters so much.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like, the message.
You are saying it's a bad thing because you were saying that it would have been better if they were not there at all.
Yes, I am saying, because, yeah, exactly. Which is
so now you're contradicting yourself.
No, it's because it comes out of nowhere. Whenever parental guidance was, she talks about her parents in a traumatic way, and then she's, oh, I'm so excited to see my parents. In like the next Scootaloo episode.
In season 8, we had another episode. Let me see if I can scroll this real quick and find it was the one where the hippogriffs sort of divide themselves between land and sea. And they've got the one that really can't decide because his mother likes the sea and his father likes the land. And it's very clearly divorce, right? But it's
heavily implied divorce.
You're right. Now, I wish they had been more explicit about it. I think it should have been, our parents are divorced and now I don't know where I should, and I don't want to have to choose, which is something that
would be a little bit hard to keep like a 3 rating.
That's fine though. I think it could have been done. Shoot, I could have done it. What is the name of the episode? Gosh darn. Was it season 8 or am I tripping?
I remember episodes. I do not remember titles or even which season they came from.
Yeah,
but if you describe an episode, I probably remember it.
Surf and or Turf, right? So that was the name of the episode, okay? And that showed that that type of thing happens and how to sort of cope with it. That would be a kid with a divorced family, which is roughly 52% of kids right now, that you don't have to choose which one you love more. They both love you. They just are separate from each other, right? That type of thing could be very comforting. We've got the same sort of situation with Scootaloo. The parents said the parents have to do their own thing. They have a very important job. So that is definitely something that is worth showing. I think it's way better that they showed it rather than I think Scootaloo being an orphan would have been the cheap way out. That would have been more offensive to everybody who is an orphan. That would have been way more offensive to everybody who's in an orphan.
Why? It's not offensive if it was implied for 9 seasons and then they suddenly bring in parents after saying, "Oh, I think I
pretty thoroughly disproved."
It's the backwards of what you're saying. It's exactly what he's saying. It's been 9 seasons of implied orphan. Why would it be offensive?
I think I pretty thoroughly disproved that it was implied Scootaloo was an orphan earlier.
No, you did not.
You didn't disprove anything. You just said the plot of an episode.
You slightly demonstrated that Applejack's parents are dead was stronger implied. Yeah, and that's all you did.
And then said that the message.
Yeah, and I talked about how Scootaloo quite clearly has a stable place to live, which would not have happened if she was like they're not gonna have a child of a human character as child living on her own with no line of support like that. They're not gonna show that. That's not.
It could have been an orphanage or a foster home. They didn't. The thing is, they didn't show it. They didn't show it. Period.
They never showed anything.
That could have been an orphanage.
They would have shown it differently if it was an orphanage, or if it was an orphanage or a foster home or something like that. They would have 100%.
Unless they didn't want to broach that subject matter, so they left it vague.
I don't think that's what they would have done.
That's what they did. That's what they always did when they didn't want to broach the subject matter. They didn't want to approach the subject matter of Applejack's parents, so they danced around it super lightly. That's exactly how they handle stuff that they don't want to talk about, like lesbian relationships. They had there was 14 of those in My Little Pony, and they were wink wink the whole time.
What the frick are you going 14?
I don't know about 14, but there's a lot.
I can give you 2. Okay.
Octo Scratch.
In fact, no, I'll give you 1. I'll give you 1 because Lyra Bon is a load of crap. Okay, I'm not giving you Lyra Bon. Okay.
What?
They gave us Lyra Bon,
and I'm rejecting it.
Literally canon.
Then you're rejecting the showrunners because they gave us that one.
The showrunners were dumb in that episode, okay? I reject your canon and substitute it with my own, okay? Just in the case of Lyra
You're dumb.
In every other situation, I am objectively right. In the case of Lyra I reject canon. That is the only exception I make.
That's not dumb. You're dumb. This is the worst debate ever. You're
sounding
stupid.
like a Star Wars fan now. You're sounding like a Star Wars fan.
You're a stupid head.
And I don't want to be your friend anymore.
So, listen, I will give you 2. I don't know where the frick 14 came from.
Okay, so the first
Exaggeration.
all of the main 6.
Twilight.
All of the main 6.
Not Twilight. Starlight and Trixie.
Yep, that was
Very
heavily
implied.
With loads of screen time. Oh my god, you shippers are so sex saturated that you don't even know what friendship looks like anymore.
No. There are plenty of non-lesbian friendships in that show, like Apple Dash. Like Apple Dash and Rara Jack don't count; those are just friends. But that was the way they talk to each other, the way they look at each other, everything. That is heavily implied that is a relationship. Like that one is real.
I don't see it. I would never under any.
They want you to think that, so then you can say, "Oh no, it's not true," and then, yeah.
So, wait, what did it? Go play fetch with your cat, says Heather Blossom after she. I'm in the middle of a. I'm in the middle of a debate. I'm working. Okay,
this is not a debate. This is a holy war.
We're arguing about shipping.
Right. So this is extremely. I would never in my life, under any circumstances, gun to my head, I would say no. Rara Jack is not freaking canon. We're
not arguing Rara Jack. You're strawmanning. Nobody is arguing Rara Jack.
The point is, I'm not finished with my freaking statement, Cordero. I'm saying I would sooner acknowledge Rara Jack is canon than I would Trixie and Starlight.
I'm not saying that
you're blind.
I'm saying that that's implied. The same with Starburst. That's also heavily implied in the last.
No, I'm not blind. You're a shipper grasping for straws. That's what's going on here.
Oh my god.
I'm not grasping for straws. We're seeing what the writers are very clearly wanting us to think, and then I'm just thinking that.
Yeah, I'm just picking up what they're putting down.
Yeah.
You guys act like you've never hung out with high school girls before. I don't know. That seemed that I have no idea where you're getting this stuff. I've seen plenty of people
in
act
high
just
school.
like.
When was the last time you hung out with high school girls? Twitter is listening.
Yeah.
Twitter. I don't give a frick about Twitter, okay? I have cousins and nephews and things like that, all right?
Well, that's not much better, is it?
You see, this is the problem with being a shipper. I can't frickin' say anything without you guys going pause. You've completely forgotten what an innocent relationship looked like. You've completely forgotten what platonic is, all right?
No, we haven't. We admitted it right up front that there's plenty of them in MLP.
There's fan fiction writers out there right now shipping me and Cordero because we're having this argument, okay? This is how I know how you guys think, all right? You are wrong about Trixie and Starlight.
No. Ship heating now. It's done. The fanfic's coming out in 10 minutes.
10 minutes can't be good.
This is going to be the next cupcakes. All right. So, is there anything else we want to tackle?
Yeah,
we have. Yes. Rugby tackle, yeah.
Rugby tackle. All right, that'll be fun. We'll see how that goes. We got Thaddeus R says Starburst shipper as well as a Rumbaloo shipper. Gosh darn it.
Oh, yeah. I'm a Rumbaloo shipper all the way. Oh, obviously, I have a list somewhere of every ship I have. I try and ship every single character with someone else.
Here's the thing. Sombra Shy is the only canon ship.
Sure. No, it's TO8. It's TO8. Celestia Featherweight is the OTP.
Nothing else.
I will give you that as long as you also acknowledge Luna and Pipsqueak as canon.
Deal.
All right.
I've been watching too much Clock again. I've seen like three of them.
Now, okay, so here's the thing. We need to wrap up this stream so I can go to confessional so I don't go to hell. Here, all right, so...
it's too late.
Do we have any... so, Sniper, attempting to get back on track here, are there any other points you wanted to address about Scootaloo's character?
No.
Alrighty then.
Other than the fact that Rumble Blue is canon, other than that, it's fine. I'm done.
You know what?
Are still like, the parents were still dead all the way. They just forgot how to make an episode, and then
we need to do the Trixie Starlight Glimmer debate for real. I will actually go back and watch that entire season and a half or more, and I will literally write up a dissertation. Like, I feel so strongly about this, that this is a real thing, and I will show why it's different than every other platonic non-lesbian relationship of good friends.
Try taking off your shipper goggles first, which I don't think you're capable of doing. Once you become a shipper, you never go back. It's impossible.
I don't ship Apple Dash or
like.
Rarajack. Clearly, I'm capable of objectivity.
All right.
Although Starburst is canon, so is Soaring Dash, so is Flashlight.
So
Soaring Dash is a one-tree ship.
Soaring Dash.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it. It works in film fiction.
Have you seen
that one's workable.
But there's
Rainbow Crush Rainbow Crush explains it all.
Okay. So
I'm personally a Flash set shipper. One, it actually happened, and two, they should get back together.
That could be a debate. So let's see here.
Read my fic.
Yeah, read his fic, guys. It's pretty good. So let's get into audience participation. I didn't see a whole lot this stream. I saw one from Harriman, who says, my feelings on Scootaloo is that she needed every hug and every bit of support guidance that Rainbow Dash and everyone else gave her. Scootaloo was an orphan at the start and needed a found family. So he's leaning. So Harriman thinks that Scootaloo was implied to be an orphan at the beginning.
Very clearly.
Alrighty then. So what do you guys think about that? About what Harriman said?
What was the example he gave that showed in season 1 that she was an orphan?
In season 1?
Yeah, didn't he give a season 1 example?
I don't think I don't think there was a season 1 example.
What did he say? What did he say?
Needed every bit of guidance that everyone had given her. Scootaloo was an orphan at the start, and he didn't give an example.
Okay.
So let's see here. I saw Thaddeus R say, Scootaloo's parents weren't shown, therefore orphan. Regardless of to what degree they were actually alive and present, it's the fact that they weren't there that qualifies her as an orphan. I don't know. Last I checked, I thought orphan meant completely abandoned, like given up. Disowned by your family at a young age, or
not disowned if you send letters to them,
or your parents, both your parents die before you're an adult. That's what I'm pretty sure orphan meant.
Yeah, but she wasn't abandoned. That's the point. She still had contact with her family. Sent letters to them every week.
Mm-hmm. Let's see here. Thaddeus. Harriman also said recently. I'll get to Thaddeus's in a second. He said Sky Stinger and Vapor Trail are straight. It's the implied quote everybody's a lesbian or bi that gets Brawny. Some of the writers themselves tried to force it in. Yeah, the writers are freaking stupid. All right.
Yep.
All of them?
Yep, all of them.
Not all of them. Just the ones that would do that. Yeah. Get this freaking, I don't know, every time I see them trying to force that in for no reason, I'm like, put that thing back where it came from, or so help me. Let's see here. Thaddeus R says Apple Bloom has a mother-like sister, Sweetie Belle has a normal sister, and Scootaloo has an adopted one, hence all different in that regard. So even if they all have sisters, they all have different sister relationships, and therefore they're not the same in that regard either. I think was a counterpoint that to what Sniper was saying. Any thoughts there?
Not really.
All right, so that's all I have for audience participation. Did you guys see any chat that you wanted to address?
I saw one. Where to go?
I'll just look through the chat for a second.
Doug's Film and TV says, which character from the main 6 got a good arc? What do you guys think?
Oh, the main 6.
Which character from the main 6 got a good arc? All of them.
That's a hard one. They're all bad.
They're all
the main
bad,
6?
he says. We're gonna end up needing to do a follow-up debate with this edgelord.
They're all not as good as Sunburst. Sunburst is its best enemy.
Okay, now I know a troll when I hear it.
No, I'm genuinely a part of this. Like, name me one entirely bad episode with Sunburst in it. You can't name one.
That doesn't mean
the crystalling.
The crystal.
I mean, it's a fine episode apart from the fact that it retcons Alacorns.
Yeah, so it's a bad episode.
Fine.
If you retcon a core mechanic of your universe, it's a bad episode.
That's not the point of
Oh my god.
We're getting into another argument.
I'm going through your chat and everybody's telling us when their parents got divorced.
Yeah, it's horribly common. So take note, kids. Make sure you marry the right person.
Or don't get married. That's also an option.
Yeah, I guess. It's certainly better to not get married than to marry the wrong person.
It's cheaper.
Yeah. Now remember, kids, no dating until after you're married.
Adam Zekel.
I've never heard that name before. Welcome to the show.
Adam Zelke says, didn't Trixie once say, the starlight I love? Yes.
You guys just don't know the difference.
She says shit like that all the time.
You guys don't know the difference of platonic love.
I'm writing a dissertation on this, and we're either having it...
times. Every character says that they love each other. It doesn't necessarily mean anything.
I know, but it was fun.
Yeah, it's
fun. I know, but it's fun because someone said in the chat, I'm writing a dissertation on Starlight and Trixie, and we're either having an episode about it or I'm coming to your house and reading it to you. You pick.
We'll have an episode about it. If I'm gonna get read your cringy dissertation, I'd rather get paid for it.
Good.
Can we have a debate on shipping as well?
I think It'll
probably be that episode.
I've had a couple debates on shipping already.
Yeah, that's not enough, though.
Doug's Film and TV. This is the craziest debate I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were flopping around for content, and then shipping got brought up, and we're all trying to kill each other all of a sudden.
Mr. Sea Lion says, "You're welcome. Soren Dash is my OTP. Thanks. I agree as well. You're right." Yeah.
Yeah, so Trent says Brawny forgot Sky Stinger and Vapor Trails. Yeah, that's a
that's not implied,
that's the childhood that I could see where someone might think that they had a thing for each other. And I'm a sucker for the childhood friend trope. I will fully admit that. But I don't think I don't think they're there when we saw them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have strong feelings about them, so.
Yeah, they were only around for one episode, so that doesn't really matter. Yeah. All right, so I think we've gotten through everything. Have they mentioned? Grimwolf says, "Have we mentioned Scootaloo's anxiety issues yet?" Well, we not really explicitly, but we sort of talked about how Scootaloo, like we didn't really go into depth about it, but I'd definitely say that Scootaloo had some anxiety issues stemming from the lack of guidance that she had early on, but once
clearly retconned by the Last Crusade when
they didn't retcon it. She grew out of it.
I don't know
we addressed the issue.
point.
She had anxiety about being good enough for, about whether or not Rainbow Dash would accept her as a sister, and she had anxiety about being able to fly. And we worked through both of those issues by the end of the series. So, no, we didn't give it its own segment, but we certainly, it was brought up through implications. And as we've established tonight, the implications. Yes, implications are everything. All right, going once, going twice.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I think we had a good debate. I certainly had fun tonight. Did you guys have fun tonight?
I did too.
Good.
I can do this again.
Yeah, Cordero has definitely found a new hatred for me. I'm probably gonna.
New.
Yeah. New. I'm glad you guys had fun. Sniper, thanks for suggesting the topic tonight. Now here's what we do at the end here. Give me one thing. Give me some closing statements to wrap up your thoughts and tell me one thing you learned.
Maybe the fact that she doesn't have a sister and then she does have a sister isn't the worst thing.
Okay.
And that was fine. I now think that was completely fine. There was no need to change that.
All right, sounds good. Cordero, final thoughts and one thing you learned.
Final thoughts. Scootaloo was done good. Scootaloo could have been done better, but they did so much right in the show that I'm fine with what we got. And I learned that Brawny doesn't understand the subtleties of human relationship interaction.
Okay, I will echo your closing statements, but I will add that you don't understand the subtleties of platonic friendship.
I can't wait for this debate. It's going to be so good.
Parents are still bad, though. I'm still never going back. That episode is physically hard to watch.
So
I can bear. There are only 3 pieces of media that are ever hard to watch for me, and that was Batman and Robin, the movie, Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show, and this. That's the only 3 times, and that is an achievement.
Alrighty then. So, thanks to everybody who tuned in. If it's your first time viewing, I hope I've earned your continued viewership. If you would like to be on the show, I'd love to have you. We'll just get you on the Patreon for as little as $1 a month, where you can suggest the topics and come on the show if you want, as well as the games that we play bi-weekly on Friday Night Fights. I'm very grateful to all of my generous supporters on Patreon, especially the $10 and up tier, this big long list. Princess Heather Blossom, Shady Oak Ministry, Sid McConroy, Autoknight, Emerald Spencer, Senko, DJ Skywalker, Rein-Kun, Morningstar, Pony Cordero, who's with us, QFlash, Billy Henline, Alden, MacManx, EasyModeGamer, Cano Acrylic VA, Mr. Sonic 31, Ridge the Hedgehog, Alicia Lynette, and Dark Malcontent, author of the Metaverse series. Check out all their content links in the description. They make some pretty good stuff too. Anyway, if Patreon is not your thing, we've also got Subscribestar with all of the same perks. Ko-fi for custom subscriptions or donations, TeePublic for merch, and Stream Elements for donations during the show if you find yourself entertained and wish to support. I hope to see you all again on the next stream. If you want to hang out with me some more, then next Friday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be doing some kind of gaming. I don't know what yet. That's up to my patrons. So have a lovely weekend. Stay safe. God bless, and I hope to see you all